Hey guys, John Hendricks here. In the last video I talked about how I bought 10 properties a few years ago, all in one go in Melbourne, and this is roughly how it played out. Each was a brand new property for approximately $400,000. That's a total purchase price of $4 million. Full deposit paid on each one was $10,000, being a total of $100,000 down. Normally this would be around 10% deposit, which would have been $400,000 deposit. The first lesson here is to navigate a lower entry fee as a down payment. Try for 3% to 5% of the purchase price. The reason it was less is I negotiated with the builders and developers to accept less by giving them personal assurances I could perform. Before doing this, speak to your lender first to ensure that you can perform. I also negotiated no more to pay until settlement, and for an early settlement I received a rebate of $20,000 on each property. That's a total of $200,000 rebate, being 5% of the price. Second lesson is negotiate a rebate for a bulk purchase or an early settlement. Rebates are fairly common in the new home industry, but you need to build up trust and rapport first with the parties. At settlement, which was about 12 months later, I had them revalued at $440,000, which meant I had built-in equity of $40,000 in each one. This was a 10% increase on the initial value I paid, and on top of that, a further 5% rebate being $20,000. So in total, I had built a 15% increase in the value, being $60,000 by 10 properties equals $600,000 of equity for only $100,000 down payment. Third lesson is to look for properties which will be valued at a higher valuation at settlement. Ensure you have enough time until settlement where the market is at a low point, like now. The lender was prepared to lend me 80% of the increased value, being $352,000 on each property. At the time of settlement, the balance owing was $400,000 minus the $20,000 rebate, less the $10,000 that I had paid. The balance was $370,000 plus $10,000 for costs to settle the purchase. There was a further $28,000 due, which was $18,000 being the shortfall for the monies borrowed, plus the costs, stamp duty and fees per property required to settle the purchase, which in total was equal to $280,000. I used additional security to complete this. The fourth lesson, draw down any additional cash from other security where possible so you don't tie up any additional property security with the lender. It will reduce overall risk just in case anything goes wrong, and it will leave you in a better financial position. Now the final figures look like this. Value is $4.4 million with a debt of $3.52 million. That's 80% of the loan to value ratio. The property equity is now $880,000. This includes equity and cash contributions of $380,000. My return on investment, which was my return on cash and equity, is 130%. That's insane. It's off the charts. My equity uplift is $880,000, less the $380,000 that I put in. My margin was $500,000 over $380,000 was a 130% increase. Most investors are happy if they get between 15 to 20% per annum on their cash. Just as important, I only used cash of $100,000 to secure property of $4.4 million, which is 2.2% of the price, with a total equity being $380,000. This was equal to 8.6% of the value. Normally you would need 20% plus costs, so that's about 28% of the value. In this particular example that I've given you, the circumstances, it would equate to $1.12 million down. The end result is I have doubled my cash and equity in a space of 12 months, and I'm now left with assets which continue to appreciate over time. You don't need to start with 10 properties. You can start with one purchase initially. Give me a buzz and I'll try and point you in the right direction. My email is johnhendricks@gmail.com or 0418 308051.